So we have already proved how the force is inversely proportional to the square of distance, and that we have proved using Kepler's law. That means we have come up to page number 5. On page number 5 at the bottom we have you are given, use your brain power. I am reading that question. Is there a gravitational force between two objects kept on a table, or between you and your friend sitting next to you? So answer for this is yes. Yes, there is a force of attraction between two objects as kept on a table, as well as me and my friend. If yes, why don't the two move towards each other? The answer for this question is, as compared to the mass of earth, the mass of me and my friend is very less, and thus though the force is exerted, this force is very less, and therefore they will not move towards each other. So we have come up to the bottom of the page number 5. Now on page number 6 they have given you two solved example, example 1, example 2, and on that solved example they have asked the question, use your brain power. But after finishing all theory of this lesson we are going to see the examples. That's why now we will see what are high tides and low tides. So the reason for formation of tides is the gravitational force exerted by the moon. That is the important word you have to remember. The main reason for the formation of high tides and low tides is the gravitational force exerted by the moon. Because you know that in sea water there is a formation of high tides and low tides twice a day at regular intervals. So whenever the moon comes exactly on the water surface, then due to the gravitational force of attraction, that part of water rises above and high tide is formed. At the same time, the portion which is at 90 degree to this high tide, there is a formation of low tide. So if we draw the figure, or for understanding, if we consider this as earth, then there is a formation of high tide over here, because here the we will consider the position of moon, and here the gravitational force exerted by moon. So whenever the gravitational force is exerted by moon, then high tide is formed. At the same time, here also the high tide will be formed, and exactly at 90 degree there is a formation of low tides. Followed? So that is the meaning of the sentence. That is, whenever there is a formation of high tide, at the region of 90 degree there is a formation of low tide, which is the water level is minimum. Then we will come on page number 7. They have given you Earth's gravitational force. In that you have seen in UCM, that is uniform circular motion, when the object is accelerated, that means there is a change in velocity. The velocity changes either due to change in magnitude or change in direction. In uniform circular motion, previously we have seen that velocity changes due to change in direction. The magnitude of velocity, that is speed, remains constant. Now we are going to see the example of throwing the stone in an upward direction. So whenever we have any object or a stone thrown vertically upward, then what is your observation? The speed of stone goes on decreasing, and for a while it comes to rest, it becomes zero, and after that state it starts falling down. That is your observation. Now the reason for all of that is whenever we are throwing the stone upward, the motion of stone is in the upward direction while the gravitational force is in the downward direction, because the center of mass of earth is at the center and the gravitational force exerted by the earth on that object or on the stone will be towards the center, and thus that stone will fall vertically downwards, and then due to that gravitational pull its velocity goes on decreasing, because gravitational pull is in the downward direction and the stone is going in the upward direction. So due to the gravitational pull, what happens, its velocity goes on decreasing, and for a certain instance it becomes zero and then it starts falling down. So that is the example they have given explaining the gravitational force. Then they have again given you two solved examples, and after that they have given you the question, use your brain power. Whenever you are listening the or seeing the video, you should be careful that you should see each and every line in your book. According to Newton's law of gravitation, every object attracts every other object. Here again the question is there, therefore I am reading the question. Thus, if the earth attracts an apple towards itself, the apple also attracts the earth towards itself with the same force. Why then does the apple fall towards the earth, but the earth does not move towards the apple? So apple falls the earth, you know, we have seen the reason, due to the gravitational attractional force which is directed towards the center of the earth, because center of mass of earth is at the center as it is considered to be spherical. But here, as mass of apple is very less or negligible as compared to the mass of earth, the reverse will not happen, that is the earth will not get attracted towards apple. Then if we consider the example of artificial satellites and moon, they are also revolving around the earth or they are orbiting the earth, but they will not fall on the earth because of their velocity. That you have to remember, both are moving with a high velocity and therefore they will not fall on the earth. That is the reason. Now page number 8, we are going to see earth's gravitational acceleration. So we have seen Newton's second law of motion, and from that second law of motion we have seen that whenever the force is acted on an object, it results into acceleration. So whenever the force is exerted, now we are seeing that the gravitational force is exerted by the earth on every object on the surface of the earth. Thus the gravitational force due to the earth on a body results in acceleration. That is the conclusion we can draw. Here the force type is gravitational force, and due to the gravitational force exerted by the earth on the body results in acceleration, which is nothing but the gravitational acceleration or acceleration due to gravity, which is denoted by the symbol small g. It is having the unit normal acceleration, centimeter per second square in CJ system and meter per second square in MK system. And as the gravitational force on any object due to the earth is directed towards the center of the earth, this gravitational acceleration is also directed towards the center of the earth, like gravitational force, because it is nothing but the gravitational force. Then they have given, think about it, what would happen if there were no gravity? So you can also tell the answer, it is very easy. So all objects would have floated in air. If there will be no gravity, all will float in air. That is the first answer, which is very easy. What would happen if the value of capital G was twice as large? So capital G will, if become double, then the force will be also, capital F force will be also double. Now we are going to derive the expression for small g. We have already having according to Newton's law of gravitation, we have this expression F is equal to capital G m1 m2 upon d square, where m1 and m2 are the masses of two objects, d is the distance between their centers, g is the gravitational constant. So instead of that, if we consider one of the object as earth having mass m, then we will have, and if the mass of the object on the surface of the earth is m and the distance between their centers is r, then it will get changed. M is the mass of earth, small m is the mass of object, and r is the distance between the object and the center of the earth. Then we will have F is equal to capital G m into r square. So that is the relation we have. Then we have another relation for F. We have F is equal to ma, that we have derived already from Newton's second law last year. If that A is a gravitational force, then the acceleration will be also gravitational acceleration. So it will become F is equal to mg. So if we have equation 1 and equation 2 which are given, where r is the distance from the center, m is the mass of the object, capital M is the mass of earth, g is the universal constant. Here mass of object, here g is the value that we are going to find out. So if we equate 1 and 2, because on left hand side we are having f and f, so we have g m upon r square is equal to mg. So m will get cancelled on both sides, so we have g equal to gm upon r square. Now if the object is placed on the surface of the earth, then this r will be replaced by capital R, as this distance will be the radius of earth, because if we consider this as a earth and if we have object at the center on the surface of the earth, then this will become capital R. So this R will be replaced by capital R. So we have G equal to Gm upon capital R square, where G is the gravitational constant, M is the mass of the earth, and R is the radius of the earth. So if we put all these values are constant values, they have given you the values. So if we are going to consider G 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11, which is a standard value, mass of earth is 6 into 10 raised to 24, and radius of earth 6.4 into 10 raised to 6. If we put up all the values and if we calculate, we will get the answer 9.77 meter per second square. So you have to remember these calculations are not expected here. So meter per second square, that means approximately we take it as a 9.8. 9.8 is taken. That is the value of G, gravitational acceleration, that we are going to consider. Now from this equation, what conclusion we can have? This value of gravitational acceleration is independent of properties of the object following. Object following the properties, if we have its mass, because the mass term get cancelled, so it is independent of the properties of the object, and it depends only on the mass of the earth and the radius of the earth. So these are the factors on which this G depends. So that is how we can derive the expression. So they may ask you the question, define acceleration due to gravity or gravitational acceleration, and derive the expression for it. That question may be asked together. You can write it and find its value. If they ask, you have to put up the standard values of G, M and R that you have to remember at that time. Now after that they have given, can you tell? So what would be the value of G on the surface of the earth if its mass is twice as large and radius half of what it is now? So if I write the equation for G is equal to Gm upon R square, you have to remember this formula. So mass is made twice and radius is made half, then it will become 2gm upon 1 upon 4r square. So that 1 upon 4 will go above, so that will become 8 times. So it will become 8 times the value of g will become 8 times the original value. That is the answer. Then we are going to see the three factors on which the value of g depends. It depends on the three factors. The first factor is it changes along the surface of the earth. It is not constant everywhere. Second thing, it changes according to the height, second factor. And third, it changes with the depth. So this question may be also asked. State the factors on which the value of g depends and explain each factor. So first factor that we are going to consider is the variation of g which is along the surface of the earth. So due to rotation, we are not considering the earth as perfectly spherical, but it is flattened at the poles and it is bulging at the equator. So the radius of the earth along the equator is maximum, while along the pole it is minimum. So the value of small g is inversely proportional to the radius, because in the formula g equal to capital G capital M upon capital R square. So R square is in the denominator, so it is inversely proportional to radius. Therefore at equator the radius is maximum, so g will be minimum, that is 9.78 meter per second square, while at the pole the radius is minimum, that means g will be maximum, so it will be 9.832 meters per second square. That means the value of g at poles is maximum, while at equator it is minimum. That you have to remember the values. Second factor they have given, it changes according to the height. So according to height, whenever there is an increase in height, the value of g decreases. Whenever there is increase in the height from the surface of the earth, then the value of g decreases. But if the increase in the height is negligible, then that will not affect g. For that they have given you the one example, that is if radius of earth is 6400 kilometer, that is standard value, and if the aeroplane is flying 10 kilometer above the surface of the earth, then the distance will become 6410 kilometer. So that is a negligible change in height. Thus there will be no negligible change in the small g value. At the same time, whenever we are considering the artificial satellite, then they are at a much height from the surface of the earth, and therefore the value of g is definitely affected. So what second point you have to remember? Whenever there is an increase in the height from the surface of the earth, value of g decreases. Then they have given you one table on page number 9 top. Place height in kilometer, g meters per second square. So they have given some values, you have to remember these values. They may be asked as a objective. Then the third factor on which it depends is the change with the depth. So whenever we go inside the earth, what you are expecting, that the radius decreases. Whenever we are going inside the surface of the earth, actually what is happening, the radius of earth is decreasing, but and what would be our expectation then? G should increase, the small g should increase, that is our expectation. But actually the part of the earth which contributes to the gravitational force felt by the object, it also decreases. That is, in other words, the mass of earth under consideration decreases mass of earth under consideration decreases as we go towards the center of the earth, that is below the surface of the earth. So instead of expectation, that is increase, the g value decreases whenever we go inside the surface of the earth, and then it becomes 0 when it comes at the center of the earth. So these are the three factors. So this question can be asked, what are the three factors? Explain all these factors. So you have to remember the factors. First, on the surface of the earth, g value changes. Second, with height it changes, and third, it changes with the depth. After that, they have given you think about it. Page number 9. Will the direction of the gravitational force change as we go inside the earth? The answer is no. There will be no change in direction. Second one, what will be the value of g at the center of the earth? It becomes 0. Followed? So every planet and satellite, they have different mass and different radius, and therefore value of g, because value of g depends upon mass and radius of that planet, we have find out the value by considering the planet as our earth, by taking mass of earth and radius of earth. But if we change the planet, the mass will change, radius will change, so small g value also changes for the planets. If we consider moon, the value of g is found to be 1/6 of the earth, and therefore we can jump 6 times higher on the moon as compared to the earth with the same amount of force. If we have same amount of force on the earth and on the moon, we can jump 6 times higher on the moon. Then they have given you the two terms, that is mass and weight, which are totally different terms. Actually, whenever we use them, we find them to be same, but totally they are different. First thing, you know the definition of mass, as mass is the amount of matter contained in the object, while weight is the gravitational force exerted by the earth on the object, or the gravitational force with which the earth attracts the object. So that is the weight. That is the distinguishing point as a definition. What is mass? It is the amount of matter contained in the object, and weight is the force with which the earth attracts the object. That is the first point distinguishing. Second thing, mass is a scalar quantity, then weight is a vector quantity. That is the second distinguishing point. Third distinguishing point, mass remains everywhere same, while weight changes everywhere. It does not remain constant. The unit for mass are kilogram and gram, while unit of weight, as it is a force exerted by the earth, its unit is Newton and dyne. Followed? So these are 4-5 points you can write as distinguishing between mass and weight, which is a very easy question. And the formula for weight is W equal to capital F is equal to m into g, where g is having formula gm upon r square. So value of g changes as mass and radius changes. Mass of that planet, radius of planet changes, therefore g changes, and therefore weight also changes, because weight is nothing but the force. So whenever we are having, suppose mass 75 kg, then on the earth, then the force, that is the mass is suppose 75 kg, then weight will not be same, but it will be 75 into 9.8. So whenever mass is given and you are asked to find out the weight, you have to use the formula W equal to F equal to m into g. So multiply that mass by 9.8, you will get the force, that is the weight in newtons. So they have given one example of 75 kg, that will be 735 newtons. So whenever you are having a scale balance in your shop, you are comparing two weights, that is the two masses. So we have come up to page number 9.